let's move on to a PS4 game review, since I have done 2 previously. For now, I want to pick a game to talk about. I pick Horizon Zero Dawn, since this is good timing because Horizon Forbidden West comes out next year on the PS5. So yeah, for the video, I'm going to do a review of this open world game. The story centers around a female named Aloy who was raised by an outcast named Roast. When she was a kid, she obtained a Focus, a small augmented reality device that gives her special perceptive abilities. As years go by, Aloy wants to win a competition to become a Nora tribe. She wins, but then the cultists attack. The cultists had gained control of corruptive machines. Aloy travels to discover robots and even a top secret project called Project Zero Dawn. She gets contacted by a guy named Silence to uncover about what happened to the old years. And now it's up to Aloy to travel around and even stop more coldness and bad guys and stop corrupted machines. So by the time the game came out, I didn't know what the game was about. I was focusing on Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild at the time, which is kind of a coincidence since both games were in a competition. Both games released their first trailers at E3, though not in the same year. But in E3 2016, both games had their full trailer with actual gameplay. And then the release date. Horizon Zero Dawn released on February 28th, 2017, and Zelda Breath of the Wild released on March 3rd, 3 days after it. And not only that, they're both open world games, so I can understand why both of them were in their competition. And no, I wasn't going to do a video on it. People on YouTube already did it. So let's move on to the game. I have to say, I am so glad that I picked up the game. Unlike Spider-Man 2018 where I knew I was going to get the game when I got my PS4, this one I didn't know at first, but actually, it was a great game. I watched the E3 2016 trailer before I got the game, and it looked really cool. Yes, it did give me Zelda Breath of the Wild vibes, but remember, it's Sony's own thing. First off, it's originality, so I give kudos to Sony for making an original published game. Second, there are more cutscenes than Zelda Breath of the Wild. Aside from those two, it's still a great game. It's a good setup for a game to take place where it feels more modernized, but feels like it's in the past, and it's a post-apocalyptic setting, which modern games have been used in settings. Now for the characters, though I'm only going to talk about our main protagonist, Aloy. Call her the equivalent of Link. She comes across NPC characters along the way, and if you talk to them, there is a button option to ask different questions. And Aloy is a determined young hunter at heart with respect. I do like Aloy. Hopefully she'll do great in the sequel. Now moving on to the graphics. It does look beautiful, even by HD quality. Even the character designs with textures around them. I like the textures more than Breath of the Wild, though critics say the character models look off, and yeah, it's not great, but again, you gotta take for what it did. The people in the game are referred to as tribes, so I can understand the historic way. Graphics aside, I love the open world. In fact, it's growing on me. While the journey is long, there is a map to see where you're going, and I care for games that need a map. Plus, there are campfire parts where you can actually save the game, but the game can automatically save after a cutscene or to the next location. I mainly focus on the main mission, though at times I do side missions just in case. Plus, these machines look really cool with their design. Some look like animals, while others are more something out of a science fiction movie. Now moving on to the combat. There is a combat in the game where you can fight with enemies and machines, and these combats are great to use. Though the melee combat is not good. The actual combat steals it. You can use different varieties of weapons and arrows, kind of similar to Breath of the Wild, except Aloy doesn't hold a sword. She uses a spear as a weapon when you get close to an enemy. Though the melee combat is not the only criticism, I find some of the weapons I use too much and it becomes tedious. Maybe because I try to aim at the enemy and the camera keeps zooming in and out when I use the arrows. So yeah, that's one of the gripes with the game. Another gripe with the game is training up. There is a level up in the game to train Aloy. When I'm at a semi-low level, and when I die multiple times, I have to go back and train up more levels by knocking out machines. And it's really not fun to train up. Oh well, maybe because I don't like to train more. I just want to beat the game and that's it. There is a difficulty in the game. I went with normal mode, which I'm glad I used that mode and not the other hard modes because, yeah, I would get knocked out so many times. However, when I got to the final boss, I couldn't knock it out much because it had so many HP. So I switched with the easy mode for the final boss, and with the weapons I used, I knocked it out and I beat the whole game. It is a challenging game, so we have a hard time beating the game. Is the difficult mode another gripe of the game? No, not at all. I feel like the training and the combat repetitiveness, for the most part, are the only gripes with the game. Aside from that, Horizon Zero Dawn is a great game with a lot of depth and exploration. I am really happy to play this game on the PS4. I understand the praise for the game by video game critics. I know it won't top Zelda Breath of the Wild since I love that game. This game was a great one to play all the way, and I can't wait for Horizon Forbidden West until I get it on PS5. That is all for the review, and there will be another video game review next week as a tie-in to last week's video. I'll see you guys for Super Mario World review.